Good to see you again, Kayla.
Good to see you too. How are you doing, Allie?
I've been good. Yeah. Things have been good. I had kind of a weird, encounter the other night.
Really?
Yeah, sort of. So, I was, on Tuesday nights, I go to, a college ministry, and so I, volunteer with setup and takedown, so it starts at 8, and so I, was there since, 5, and, my just Tuesday nights are always, spent there, and it was, a super, normal day, and then, a lot of people, ended up not staying to stay and, take down, and usually there's quite a few people that stay and take down, but it was just me and 2 other people that work there, and one other person, and so we were there till close to 11 or so. It was a late night. It was a late night, and so and then my other roommates had already driven home, and so I was driving myself home, and I was driving down State Street, and then I was gonna turn right onto Alabama, and there's a light there, and I was in the right turn lane next to Trader Joe's, and then it was a red light, but then I was turning right, so I was okay, but I stopped and was following all the rules, and I usually speed on that road, kind of, because onto Alabama, because it's a really long road, and there's nobody, there was nobody there, because it was so late. And it's the speed limit's 30, but I'll usually go close to 40, which is not that bad. I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's still pretty. It's okay. Anyways, and so I turned onto that street, but I was going 25 for some reason. I was just tired, so I was driving really slow. And then I had gotten 2 blocks down, and I was about to turn into my cul-de-sac. And then, a police officer, showed up right behind me. But it was weird, because I, his lights, turned on, right as I, was going to turn. And I was oh, where did this car even, come from? I didn't think that I was, I didn't think I'd done anything wrong. And so I, I wasn't really, nervous at that point, because I, was just confused. I was I didn't break any. I was going really slow, and then I was oh, did he, I don't know, I felt he, waited the whole time that I was driving, on that road. It was, a long road to pull me over, so that was just, kind of weird. So anyway, so I pulled over, and then I'd never been pulled over before, and so I was kind of, thinking in my head about, just all of the things that I've been, hearing about police officers, and I know in Bellingham, I don't know, I haven't heard any incidents of police brutality really happening in Bellingham, but I'm sure it's happening, but maybe just is swept under the rug, or I don't know, I just didn't know what was gonna happen, and so I was super thinking in my head when he was walking up to my car, okay, what are all the right things to do? I had my hands on the steering wheel, but I knew my wallet was in the back seat, and I hadn't gotten it yet, just because I was so nervous. So anyways, he comes up to my car window, and I was hi, hello, and dude, I don't know what you say during those times, and so I'm just super super tense, and then he was oh, I saw you take a wide turn back there, and I was I don't know what is a wide turn, I don't know what that is, and he's oh, and I just looked really confused, and then he's well, you were you turned right, and then instead of turning into the closest lane, you turned into the one that was a little bit further away, which didn't seem that big of a deal to me, because there's nobody else on the road, and everybody kind of does that, but I guess it's still against the rules, but I just was so baffled that he pulled me over for that. I was just oh, okay. And then he asked, he kind of stood there awkwardly, and then asked to see my information, and I got really nervous, because I was oh my God, I don't have it, it's in the back seat, and so I was can I get it out of the back seat? Is it okay if I turn my back on you to is it okay if I turn and get it out of the back seat? Because in my mind I'm just thinking about all of these things that I've heard about police officers. And then he was oh yeah, that's fine, and I realized that I don't know, I think I just had totally realized, like, and, like, felt so much, like, white privilege that I haven't felt a lot of time, or, like, that I haven't, like, I'm so, like, I'm, like, aware of it and becoming more aware of it, but I haven't felt it, like, truly, like, acted out. And I was just like, wow, like, you know what, like, I know that he's not going to do anything, and even if I get a ticket, like, you know, that's fine. Like, I'm going to get a ticket. I didn't end up getting one, but, like, he's not going to do anything because I'm, like, a white 20-year-old, you know, girl in Bellingham. And so I'm, like, no threat by societal standards. And I just, like, felt really weird. Like, you know, everything was fine, and he, like, let me go home and just told me to, like, not do that because it's against the rules. But I just, like, felt really weird going home after that because I just, like, I don't know, I felt like I, like, really was made more aware of, like, my privilege, and, like, that's good, and I'm thankful for that. But I was just like, oh, I hate that I knew that, like, nothing was gonna happen. But if I was a different race, or, like, if I was, like, even, like, a different gender, like, you know, something else definitely could have been the result of that situation. So, yeah, anyways, that was my weird experience.
Yeah, so you said you've gained a lot of self-awareness. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, I think just definitely, like, from, like, the human services program, and, like, when we read about, like, the invisible knapsack of, like, white privilege, and just having, like, a lot more conversations in school and, like, with friends and stuff too. And I'm also a journalism minor, and so I read the news a lot, and I try and, like, read pretty much like the New York Times, like, pretty consistently. And just, like, hearing so many things about, like, race has just made me a lot more, like, aware about how, like, language is so, like, important in, like, framing things. But I just haven't, it's always been, like, in theory and, like, talking about it, but not really, like, I haven't gotten to really experience it, I guess.
Do you think, because you've heard all of those stories, like you said, do you think that caused you to be nervous at the beginning of being pulled over? Or was it also because it was your first experience?
I think it's definitely, like, a combination of the both. Like, the only other time I've been pulled over was, like, on campus. And, like, it feels less threatening because, like, a campus police, even though it's still a real police officer, it's, like, a campus police. And, like, nothing happened then either. And, like, I've had, like, 3 different encounters with, like, police officers. And, like, every single time I've been let off the hook. Which just, like, feels kind of wrong. And, like, I'm thankful, I guess, that I haven't, like, gotten charged with anything, but it still feels kind of wrong that, like, you know, like, but it maybe, like, if there was, like, a black student that was climbing on, like, the sculptures or whatever at school when I got talked to by police, they would have gotten fined for it, or would have, like, gotten, I don't know, like, labeled as something different, because it's just, like, some young freshman messing around, but, like, it would have probably been, like, more, like, racial, I bet. I just, like, I don't know, some of the things I've been thinking about.
Do you feel that this experience has made you even more aware?
I think so. I mean, I think it's just left me, like, thinking more about, like, I don't know, like, I can experience this without having to, like, have encounters with, like, police officers, and, like, that was just one experience that, like, led me to think more about it. But I don't know, I think I'm, like, I'm, like, more in tune now with, like, how other, like, places of authority, like, I'll see that play out, like, with myself and with, like, other friends who, like, look different than me.
Yeah. So, do you feel that this new knowledge of your privilege, do you think that's something you want to learn more about?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's
because you said you're in the human services major, so
yeah, I think it's definitely just part of, like, the curriculum, which I think is so great, and is one of the reasons I really appreciate the program, is because it is so much talking about, like, privilege and social justice, but I wish that, like, it wasn't exclusive to, like, just my program. Like, I have friends who are in different programs, and who, like, my, like, computer science friend was telling me the other day, we were talking about it, and he was like, man, I wish we talked about this in my class. because I was telling him about like my experience and like sharing kind of my thoughts with him about it. He's like, yeah, like, we never talk about this stuff in my class, and I just was like feeling so privileged to even like be in a program that like looks at this.
Yeah. So far you told me a story about a regular normal Tuesday night that turned into something kind of stressful for you, and it was your first experience with the police on normal streets that aren't on campus. And yeah, so it was all about turning into wrong lane, but you learn now that that wasn't something you were supposed to do, and you're thankful that you do have this privilege. Am I right? And
yeah, and I guess like thankful, but also just like like more like self-aware and like more thankful for the experience to be able to push me forward to like kind of like look deeper into that and like in different places of my life as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks.